Hey Internet, it's RJ. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning into the show today. Now today we're about to close out the month of July, but before we do, we must always do our monthly Q&A. You know the deal, Riddler goes up, you drop your questions down below, and we take them the order they came in. We have a lot to get through today. We've got a guy leading off with 3 city custom caches, after my own heart. The best time to get the Venture X card. We'll talk about a little bit of housing, why I can't get another Wells Fargo card. Of course, I'm sure our old friend Red Sox will be here to upset everyone. So we go long here, so chapters 2 will be down below. Skip around, but of course, let's go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. So batting leadoff, this Kari dude here is a frequenter of this this kind of show, and I appreciate that. He's been saving up his questions, so we've got quite a few to get through. So I will kind of rapid fire through these. So the first one paragraph here, basically what he's saying is he's got 3 custom caches. He had a saver card, wasn't using it, so we flipped it to a Quicksilver card. What was my thoughts on that? I mean, like, look, if you're not using the card, if you're not using the saver for anything, then like by all means, change it into a card that you're going to use. Is the saver a good card? Yeah, it's a pretty good card, but again, if you're not using it, well then it doesn't really matter how good other people think it is. Would I have done it? I mean, I guess it depends on how much non-category spend you had versus, what the saver covers. I don't think it's a bad move by any means. I think long term you probably want to get back into a double cache or an active cache or something, especially if you're playing cashback. You might as well get a 2% card since there are so many of them out there. But yeah, like short term, if you didn't want to do any more applications or you didn't think you can get approved, I don't think there's anything wrong taking cards you're not using, flipping it to something else, even if everyone else finds it more useful. If you're not using it, well then, how useful is it really to you? Next one, he says, what's your opinion on 1.5 versus 2 or 1.5 versus 2x cards? Depends on the issuer, trustworthy, their history, etc., their customer service card benefits. Overall, in general, yes, I would say try to get a 2% card because they're out there. Is again, the benefit of playing cashback is, you can get your 2% card from anywhere. I tend to favor Citi. I'm a Wells Fargo fan too, but Citi is just easier to redeem the thank you points because you can send them to any external checking account. That's why I tend to lean double cash. If you had a 1.5x card like the Quicksilver, it's not the end of the world. It really just depends on how many other cards you have and what you're putting your spend on, I would say. If you have a lot of non-category spend, sure, get the 2x card to get the most out of it. But if you've got a ton of cards and you don't really use the 1.5 that much, then half a point, of course, over the year does add up, but, it's not a real rush to it. But yes, I would try to get a 2% card. Why are you denied the autograph journey? Too many new accounts, I think is what they said on the denial letter. So like their version of 524. Which bank websites have the worst user interface or outdated? PNC by far is the worst I've ever seen, ever tried to use. Most are serviceable, like you put Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo's fine. I haven't had a problem. The Bank of America is okay. I think Merrill Lynch is probably a little bit worse, but Bank of America, the app's getting better. I don't prefer it, but it's fine. Yeah, PNC, if you're going to pick one, PNC comes to mind. The rest I probably couldn't come out with. There were really small hole-in-the-wall places. But as far as like a major bank, like PNC is the one, I'm like, that was just simply egregious. Others, like the Citizens, when I had their business credit card, it links out to a third-party site, and that third-party site was horrible, but it's not really theirs. It's just them kind of outsourcing it. Not great. Did you have a banking relationship with Wells Fargo? I have before I got the autograph. No, not a consistent one. I was just churning their card or their bank account over and over again. So I did not. I just applied for it and got it. I think most of the time they seem willing to give you your first card, but after that they seem like profitable customers and folks who are using their cards and things like that. How would you compare the upcoming Strata to Wells Fargo Autograph and the Capital One Saver? You're talking about the white one? The white one's not bad. I just don't think people care. It's not going to do much for people here. I don't think it's a bad card. It's just nothing special. I would go probably Saver and Autograph both over that one to be sure, but I don't think it's a bad card. It's just, it lost. We think it's a bad card because it's bad for us because it lost the thing that the Rewards Plus had, which was that extra 10% redemption. Without them doing that, for us, it's kind of like, man, but for the average person, not terrible. I would still go, the Autograph just gives you a ton of coverage, and then the Saver as well. So I would still put those over that. My minute mind, the City Strata would be a merge of the Wells Fargo autograph and Capital One Saver. Yeah, kind of. I think so. What else do we have? If you want the autograph journey so bad, why not product change? I think you can product change. I'm not 100% sure. We've never really had a reason to product change with Wells Fargo, so it didn't really matter before, right? So I mean, I've considered it, but it's because the $600. Like this late in the game, you run out of intro offers, and like, do I want it? Yes. Do I want it more than $600? No. I have ample ability to get 5.25 back on travel through switching one of my Bank of America cards to travel. So it's not really that big of a deal. Technically, that is more than what the autograph would give me. You're just missing the insurances and things like that, but I don't want it more than $600. Plus another year's time. I'm going to make one more run at it now. I've got a bunch of inquiries falling off next month, and I still have my Wells Fargo checking account open. I'll make one more run at it. If not, I should be able to do it next year when I go like well under 524. So I can, for $600, I mean, I can wait. How would you compete Saver versus City Custom Cash cards? Who would be the winner? I mean, the Saver would have to win because the Custom Cash is just like a one-trick thing. You said 3 City Custom Cash cards. Well, then, like, I would pick 3 City Custom Cash cards over one Saver, but card to card, the Saver does more in one card. The people who are anti-Custom Cash are always like, it only does one thing. Like, yes, but I only need it to do one thing, so it's fine. But that's because I have a lot of cards. If you don't have a lot of cards, well, then that's not really going to help you that much. But if you have 3 of them, then, like, yes, I think that's the answer. Final question. Battle of 1.5% cards, if we were just using these cards by themselves without a Saver or other Chase Ultimate Reward card, if you could only pick one. I might still go Freedom because it's easier to redeem the points, and the Freedom does have more backup category should you need it. The Quicksilver, by the argument I just made, the Quicksilver just has 1.5x, period. The Freedom Unlimited at least has the 3x dining and like the 3x drugstores or something, I think it is. So that's by definition, I think that's a better card because it gives you more for the same price of $0. I would go Freedom Unlimited out of those two just because you do have the ability to get more should you need it. Rapid firing, we speed ran those, but I hope we got you all your answers. I do appreciate you liking this segment that much and keeping up that many questions. So let me know. Now, I don't know if everyone's going to like this next one. This is Red Sox, and he says, when are we going to get DJT to leave due to the files? I believe he's referring to the Epstein files. I mean, I don't... You know, one thing I love about Republicans, and this is going to upset people, but this whole question is going to upset people. I really love their never say die attitude, and it doesn't miss. So, like, even if he is on the list, which he's probably on the list, he's not going to quit. He's not going to step down. Like, for whatever reason, because both sides do corrupt things all the time, but for whatever reason, when a Democrat gets caught, they immediately resign. When a Republican gets caught, they say, come and take it. And they mean it. George Santos just went to prison, I think, to start his 7-year sentence or something. He made him take it from him. It went down to a vote. He did that. If he was a Democrat, he would have just stepped down. So, you know, he's probably on the list. I don't think he's going to leave. Why would he leave? Like, come and take it. Come and make me leave. You know, and but I don't think we're ever going to see the list. At this point, there's probably so many people on it. And, you know, the other thing about it is that I'm sure somewhere someone's like, I want to see the list for justice, the correct reasons. No one wants to see this list for justice. We just want the entertainment to know who's on it and who's not. Like, you know, the talk shows and late nights, they'll get their money's worth out of Wolf, something they talk about, which really makes us all terrible people anyway. So it kind of like, who are we to say you should leave when I'm just interested for the entertainment? So to answer your question, he should not step down no matter what happens. I don't believe anyone should ever resign for any reason. You just ride it out. Make them fire you because, again, in 2 weeks' time, we won't remember anyway. So you might as well just hold the line, die with the lie. There we go. Please, you know, if you're annoyed at that answer, just, I don't know, debate me down below. I'm happy to hear you out. Doc says, back on track here. How come the majority of credit card YouTube channels and viewers seem to be male-dominated? Are women just not into credit card travel setups? Well, I mean, you saw what they did with girl math, right? Let's just keep upsetting people, shall we? I don't know the answer to that. You are correct. I have somewhere in my analytics, there's like a thing of like boy versus girls who watch the show, and I can put it up for you. It's predominantly dudes. I don't know. I really don't. But it is a common thing. We have a few. I do know that. I know there was a young lady in the, I think on one of the run on the bank videos, I was like, yeah, girls don't do this. And then she commented, it was like, oh, I used to love your channel. I was like, look, exceptions prove rules. I'm glad to have you here, but for whatever reason, this is like a boy dominated niche of the internet. To your point, down from hosting to even commenting to engaging to like all that stuff. I can tell you all like questions and Instagrams and stuff I get, people asking me things like, none of them are girls, that's for sure. So I don't have the answer, because you think the cool thing about money, especially coming off of last question, money has no opinion, right? 2 + 2 will always be 4. It doesn't matter who you voted for. It doesn't matter if you're a boy or girl, and we can all do things with money. So I don't know. I mean, there's definitely a fair share of guys out there too who aren't interested in this, and don't think it's worth the time or the effort. My own brother the other day was like, he's like, I don't give an F about any of that stuff. I was like, I get it. Sure, that's fair. So I don't know. If you are watching and you're a young lady, sound off down below. Let us know, because Doc wants to know where all the ladies are at. They're definitely not here, especially not on this channel. It seems like it'd be more of like a Spencer Johnson thing. He seems like a ladies' man, perhaps. No, Venture, because he's got the hair and the Tesla. They're probably over on his channel, just not here. They hate me. Can we anticipate annual fee credit cards to increase price every 4 to 5 years due to providing higher value, in quotes? 100% yes. Everything gets more expensive. With the fees going up, I do think there's every few years we are seeing a cycling. Where I believe it's more than just they want money. I believe they want to kick some unprofitable customers off, which is us. So they're basically like, hey, you're going to stay and pay, stay and spend, or you're going to go. Like those are your 3 options. And every time a fee goes up and benefits get added and you hate it, well, you were probably supposed to hate it. If they really wanted to keep you, they would have made something you liked, but it's how it is. Aside from the fact that, like, yes, costs and things like that do go up, you can price in inflation and what have you in there. I do think it's also partly to keep the product front of mind and get people re-engaged. But a lot of this fee cycle seems to be problem solving, especially for the folks like American Express, which I am interested to see what they're going to do, because the lounge overcrowding is a real deal they've had to deal with, especially taking the passes, going from unlimited to passes to getting guest passes locked behind spend. Sapphire Reserve was partly solving a problem for themselves. They said, hey, look, not enough people spending on 1X category, where they look to solve that problem. And you might as well hike the fee while you're at it. Could they have tried to solve the problem without it? Yes, but I do believe they've unlocked the way forward, which is outsourced to vendors for most of the credits, hike the annual fee, and then again back to you can stay and pay or stay and spend or what have you. City's American Airlines executive card solved the problem. They said, hey, look, we can't keep giving out unlimited Admirals Club through authorized user cards. So a lot of this, I do think, is them solving problems. They've been out there for long enough. I do think it's partly the Netflix thing too. Like when you're looking to grow and you've known this stuff exists for quite some time. Okay, but I can go and lock down password sharing now. That's going to be potentially some instant growth because people will just get their own card. So I think there's a lot more to it than just like, hey, they're greedy, which is like the knee-jerk reaction to say. But I do think now they're going back to force some easy earnings, locking down loopholes, outsourcing prices to get their costs down and things like that. Especially, as we look to the war on like interchange fees and are they going to be capped, are they not? The war on banking fees, not being able to charge enough or charge whatever they want for late payments or missed payments. Credit cards for right now are still a way they can earn money by pushing more spend. Maybe you pay some interest, maybe you pay a higher annual fee. So I do think there's a lot in that, but yes, I do agree that we're going to see, because I don't know this thing that's ever gone down in price over the years. So yeah, I think unfortunately that's kind of where we're at, which is why I think we're going to have to decide, do you want the credit card? Do you want to go through the hoops? Do you even need to worry about offsetting those credits? Or do you just get it because you want a certain thing and you just live with it? Or do you just buy your lounge pass directly from the airline? I think these are all questions we're going to have to start to look harder at. And I am a proponent of, like, if you just like the card, just get the card. And, it's just part of your yearly travel budget. So that's kind of, I agree with you. All right, next up, we got a 2-parter here. So... fairly new to credit cards. Well, welcome. He's at 224. Didn't know what I was doing when I started. No one ever does. It's fine. So he got in with Wells, Active Cash, Costco card, that whole deal, PayPal card, debit card, cool. And so question one, would it be foolish to skip over the Chase trifecta while at 224 before hunting other cards? I had planned for Chase intros, but they denied him. And he says they are underwhelming. Oh, no, he said that they're underwhelming and the flex isn't even available right now. Well, Chase cards, I do believe, are somewhat underwhelming. They have not kept up with others. But the reason people like Chase cards now is because they're the easiest way to make a lot of money for next to nothing. We talk about American Express. American Express, yes, you can get these higher intro offers, but the Platinum's $700 right now, I think it is. So it's $700 out of your intro offer. The Gold card's $325, Green card's $150. So all of their cards are expensive, and they immediately cut into your intro offer. As where the Ink cards, when they were $900, it was like, well, it's no annual fee, $900, right? You could have that on the cash and the unlimited. The Sapphire Preferred, when it was $100K, that's $95 for $1,000, right? So we don't see a ton of high Chase offers right now. I mean, still the Ink cards at $750 are still good. So I would say look at them more so for the intro offers. And if you don't care about intro offer hunting, and there's nothing in the Chase lineup, co-branded or otherwise, that you're going to want, then yeah, you can just move on. So the cards aren't as used. I mean, the only cards I use in my Chase cards really are the Amazon card and the Cash card. I keep my Freedom cards, as you know, because they're useful to have, but I don't really use them. So I would agree with you on that, underwhelming. I mean, you can probably find some gems in there that benefit you, but, underwhelming, I would agree with. It's really more so, do you want to be locked out of that much money? I would not. I would do them because of the money. That's what I would do. But that's kind of up to you. That's kind of how so I agree with you. Just keep that in mind. Number two, what would you choose? Chase Trifecta with Sapphire Preferred taking me to 524 over the next handful of months, or Venture X and Wells Fargo autograph cards? So what do you want to do? I think the question is what do you want to do? You said try, so I'm going to assume for a travel setup, but then we get into what kind of travel do you want to do? If you want the Venture X card, I would probably do it sooner rather than later, because we know once you get a lot of cards, they're kind of over you, right? So if you want the Venture X, I would say yes, take a look at it now. My love of the Autograph Journey card. I believe the Autograph and the Autograph Journey and even an Active Cash is an amazing setup for someone who wants to travel but does not want to pay those high annual fees, to our last question. I do want the travel insurances for just in case, and $95 is more than fair to pay for most of those, given they have $50 airline credit as well, but it's very much no frills and things like that. The Venture X, in this setup, I guess it could be your 2X back card. I don't know if there's some kind of common transfer. I think you're really just going through travel portals at that point. But yeah, so I would say it depends on what you want to do. They're very similar setups. I guess, the other thing here is that the trifecta doesn't really exist anymore as well. So, I mean, you can trifecta in its form as 3 cards, but the history of the trifecta was to pool your points as Sapphire Preferred. And then to that extent, you can transfer them out. So if you were just a really big Marriott or United fan or something like that, then yeah, you could go Chase Trifecta. But if that's not you, then you're probably better served with the Venture X, the autograph cards. There's not really anything common linking those two together, but again, I do love Wells Fargo, and again, the Venture X is, for the time being, probably the best travel card out there that we have that's reasonably priced. So I lean number 2, but number 1, if you have a specific transfer part or use case in mind, would be my thought. All right, next up here, we have Wayne Tables here. If you were team domestic travel and your home airport was an AA hub, how would you decide between the executive card, going through their portal, basically all in on their ecosystem, versus having the highest multipliers? I think it probably, what I would do, I still prefer high multipliers, right? So I would still continue to do high multiplier cards, but I understand you wanting the simplicity of just one card. I would say, what type of redemptions and what value you're getting out of redeeming your AA points was probably the deciding factor. If you're still down by around 1 cent a point, 1.2, then you'd probably be better served doing the multipliers. If you're up there somehow, some people come up with these 2-3 cent per point valuations and you're traveling often enough, you like the way you're traveling with these redemptions, then it could be advantageous to go American Airlines, mostly all in on that. But again, if there's not a way to be all in on a certain category like groceries or what have you, I guess you could be using the card everywhere you go, but I do think part of we're hopeful that Citi becomes a transfer partner of AA. I'm not fully convinced that American Airlines wants them to be a transfer partner, but they probably I think they're going to be. I think it was in the agreement. So if that happens, then this solves a lot of your problem because then the double cash, custom cash, Citi Premier are all on the table, for helping your cause. So I think the answer to this is probably going to come down to what value are you getting from your AA points, how often are you traveling, type deal. I know I wouldn't be getting that much value because usually to get that much value, you've got to be booking at the front of the plane. You turn left, not right down the plane. And I don't really do that, but if you do, and you can do it often enough, or you're just trying to travel with a ton of people, like a family, you could be saving enough money with those points more so than you'd be making cash back. So I think I'd probably look at it like that. I do understand wanting the simplicity of it as well. But I think that's what I would probably look at to get the answer, and at the same time be hopeful that they do become a transfer partner, because that does solve a lot of your problems if they do. But yeah, I think that's the best way to tell. But again, I say a lot of this stuff should be what works best for you. So like even if you are giving up some, you just prefer a simpler setup, there's nothing wrong with that, right? You don't necessarily have to listen to everyone like me who has 30 credit cards. You don't need to do that. If you want to just do one card because it makes life easier, then by all means do one card. No shame in that. Two more. DJ Booge here. For the longest time, my wife hasn't let me open accounts in her name. That's starting to change, but she's not comfortable with too many cards or too many bank accounts. If I can only hit a few big checking bonus, what would you recommend? If you can only hit a few big ones, I would say, sometimes it feels like a rush trying to get through all the cards or all the promotional offers, but a lot of times these things get extended, and so it's not as big of a rush as we think. We know Wells Fargo, Fifth Third, all those guys, they're going to get extended or they're going to come around again. So I think the thing to do would be to hit the ones that seem too good to be true. Like when we just had net spend, it was like 400 direct deposit for $200. That one lasted about 3 or 4 days. Jump on that one quickly. But these larger ones, they usually give you a good window of time, and they're not. We usually see them again, right? So I would just say, if nothing else, if you can only hit a few big ones, take your time. As far as what I recommend, nothing really comes to mind because there's not really that many out there right now. It's been fairly slow on the second channel. As a shameless plug, just check the website, Profitable Content. I do keep that updated with the newest offers. I know, for large ones, if you're in the area, like Huntington Business one's always good for like $1,000 for a $20,000 deposit. I'm doing ARC checkings, finishing up as a business account. We have 10 grand for 500. I'm headed to Key Bank after this for a $5,000 $5,000 for $500 in like 60 or 90 days. So I would do some things but I don't know if you're in the region or not. So you can also filter by state location on the website as well and kind of find what you're looking for. But that's kind of what I would do. I can't help you with the wife thing. Why she won't play. Again, back to our earlier question, sometimes it just seems like the ladies don't care to do this as much. So that's, I guess, if you can only hit a few big ones, I think you just kind of pick your spots, make sure you're doing the higher offers and be a little bit patient. Like we know Fifth Third, for example, they have a wide range up to 375 down to 250. Don't do the 250, just wait, work on other things till the 375 comes back and see, or pick your number. I know some people are like, hey, I don't mess around if it's below X amount. I would kind of focus on things like that if it would help. But again, over time, you will hit most of these. Especially if you look at it as a multi-year run, because we are churning. So I understand the greed, but greed is good, as they say, but I think you're okay. I have to tell it to myself sometimes too, so don't worry about that. Joker speaks here. Do you expect a correction in the real estate market? He's between Vegas and Phoenix, and things are getting spicy down here. To a degree, but I'm not super plugged in, I will admit, but I do think part of it is we've just kind of fundamentally changed what a house is and the value of a house. We've seen YouTubers being like your average consumer, and I think the guy from Snazzy Labs, they all work out of houses now. They bought houses to work out of versus office buildings. I think as people try to cling and fight for work from home, it's changed what size house you need. And, as a single person, I'll tell you that I don't think houses are for single people, even couples. Houses are for families. But that's starting to change now, which I think is pushing more people into the real estate market, let alone the folks who have sold and, want to downsize with a lot of money on hand. So I do, to some degree, yes, I think it will. A lot of this is, I would say, unsustainable given, and I'm by unsustainable, I mean like the people who are like waiving inspection fees and this, that, and the other, right? A lot of that is kind of crazy, or waiving inspection clauses and things like that, or doing like purchase price plus 20 or something percent. I think that will come down somewhat, but I do think we have changed what a house means to the point of now where if you could have gotten away with a 2-bedroom, now you might be looking at 3 or 4 for 2 people because you want, of course, a bedroom, then you both want your own office or what have you. And if you have add kids to that, you're looking for even more. So I don't think those things are really going to change. So I do think the housing market is somewhat forever changed. The pricing will settle down. I just don't think it can remain that hot forever. But I do think there's a lot of other factors aside from just, what are interest rates going for and things like that. I think it's a lot of how we use houses, how we look at houses, the value of them. It's beyond the monetary value of them, was my take. Again, I'm not following it closely, so I could be totally wrong, but that's kind of what I'm thinking overall. So here we go. That is everything answered. So, all right. Very good. Funny enough, I have to go to KeyBank now to open a bank account. So if you guys like this one, drop me a thumbs up down below. If you found it particularly interesting, consider subscribing to the channel. Of course, we're posting content just like this every single week, and right back here every Sunday with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance, and of course, every single day over on ProfitableContent.com. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for writing in. Do appreciate it, and we'll catch you very soon in the next one.